All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to change the color of the name, my name. I like to color coordinate with the thumbnail. And also, I had myself muted. And of course, we know that when I first connect to StreamYard, you guys can hear the music fine and everything. There's about a 10-second delay. So I think what I'm going to start doing is popping in, popping out. It'll be like we're playing peekaboo. So I saw on my weather when I got back home that it's going to be in the 60s next week. Thank God. Thank God. You know, I've told you guys before I don't like to wear socks. I can't stand it. I don't like this cold weather. But I appreciate you guys coming back. This case is brand new. Brand new. This just happened on Sunday and it's been making its way around the internet. I heard about it yesterday. Then this morning, Tiffany said, Brooks, are you going to cover this? And I said, oh my God, that'd take me half a day to go through all that. Well, I jumped in head first. It is scary. First off, let me see who's in here. Where Summer's here, she went and had Thanksgiving lunch at the school. That was always so fun to do with my kids. My mom used to do it with me. Angel P's here. Sarah. Hello, Sarah. I didn't see you in the last show, Sarah. Where you been? Bridge said, Lucky. 6 feet of snow coming here. Where the hell do you live, Bridge? I don't want your address, but I need to hear about this 6 feet of snow. What on earth? There's Tiffany. Crafty's in the house. Ryan Christie, who I did see in chat from the last show. You got your t-shirt. Don't be shy to tell everybody about that wonderful craftsmanship. Hello, Elaine. Sonia. There's Jeannie. Rexy. Sharon's here. Hey, Thomas, what you been up to? Love you too, Tiffany. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob, what are you making out of this case? This has got to be one that Bob is really going crazy on. Hello, Melinda Lewis. How are you, hun? Jonesy's back. Hey, Jonesy. If I miss anybody, I apologize. There's our friend Mary, who is having problems charging her phone. Mary, we got to get you a new phone or a new phone charger. Chris made it back. Hello, Jessica. Jessica, did you send me an email after the last show about Michael Vaughn? That was very interesting if it was you. If not, I'm sorry. Hello, Leah. Hi, y'all's daughter. Little Bish, hello. There's Jinbug. Shorty, hello. There's Shep saying, what up, fam? What is up, fam? D-Gar, 6 foot of snow heading to Buffalo, New York. Wow. Years ago, I remember seeing on the news, Buffalo, New York had gotten hit with like 8 foot of snow, which is not, I mean, that's a lot of damn snow. Even for Buffalo, New York. People were like looking out their windows, the snow's piled up. If you open the door, which you couldn't open the door if they open out, but the snow was up over the door. I don't know how the hell they tunneled out. 6 foot of snow. That's a lot. Where Summer wants a t-shirt, you know who to get a hold of for that. Vanessa said it's very pretty in Arkansas. It's pretty here too. I mean, not a cloud in the sky. It's just very crisp. I mean, honestly, today's weather, I guess it's really how fall is supposed to be. Just crisp air. Crisp air. Still wouldn't mind 100 degrees and a margarita weather, if you know what I mean. Hello, Whisper. Whisper's already getting into the case, and I don't blame you. We have some new names in here. As I'm saying hi and getting set up, please hit the sub button. Whisper said the creepy guy at the food truck is my thought. He was awkwardly standing there, and they clearly weren't interested in him. The way he walked off gave me goosebumps. I did see that. The food truck thing, definitely has thrown me for a loop for some reason. Hi, Brandy. Hello, Whist. Auntie's back. Hello, Marie. I hope I got everybody. If I missed you, I apologize, but I'll get you in the comments because you guys always leave super awesome comments. This case is beyond bizarre. It's beyond a freaking horror movie. Good God. Everything I'm going through on this. This is the first show we have done on this. So we're all in it together. Anyway, looking at this case, I can't imagine how helpless the parents must feel. You watch your kids grow up. You make sure they're they're around the right crowd. They're brushing their teeth before they go to bed. Getting them a tutor if need be, getting them ready for college. Then here they're at the university, at a very good school. They've got good friends. We can tell Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, they're all good friends. I believe Madison and Kaylee are each 21. Xana and Ethan, from what I read, they're each 20. You go through all of this. They go off to the university, getting ready for adult life, and they're murdered. Not just murdered. This is like a Ted Bundy situation. This is like a Ted Bundy thing. 6 people in the house total, okay, guys? 6 people. 4, Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, were murdered. Here in the true crime community and the people that sit with us, as we talked about in the last show, we said we're different, guys. We follow these things that other people don't know what the hell's going on. So the people that sit with us are already asking the same questions about the 2 people. The 2 people that were left. Remember, 6 people in the house. 4 people murdered. Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. So we got 2 left. People are already asking the questions. How did these 2 people not hear anything? Any sound? Supposedly they slept down in the basement. I don't care. That's still, how did they not hear anything? You didn't hear anyone getting into the house, for one. How did you not hear? Wiss said maybe they were on the 3rd floor. I guarantee they were asleep. Lori said maybe they were drugged. Sure, they were asleep. Yeah, they were asleep. Could you imagine the screams that were coming? I don't know. This is crazy. All 4, Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, were stabbed to death. So not only is it odd that the 2 that are alive, which thank God they are, it makes you wonder I don't know who was attacked first, okay? So let's say Madison was attacked first. How did Madison's screams not wake the rest of the house? I don't know. Okay, so let's say Madison didn't scream. Let's just say that she wasn't awoken, attacked asleep. I don't know. Slit. Okay. At some point, one of the 4 would have had to have made some sort of commotion, some sort of scream. You would think that the other 2 would be awoken. I don't know. Like I said, why were these 2 not attacked? Why these 4 and not the other 2? Then the big question, at least it's mine, when I read the articles, and there are a ton of articles out. Most say about the same thing, but the first one I read was on Daily Beast saying it's a crime of passion. No, I don't think it's a crime of passion. No. That's just my take on it, though. Every article talks about blood everywhere. Everywhere. Blood everywhere. Welcome, Lindsay Roberts. Hit the sub button. Blood everywhere. Blood pouring out of the house. Call to 911 is made. The call mentions an unconscious person, unconscious, like someone had fainted, low blood sugar or something, an unconscious person. What the hell? You didn't notice the blood pouring out of the house? You didn't notice that did you not roll the person over? How did you not notice this? I don't know who called 911. I don't know who the other two people were. I'm not sure I want to know. I try to put myself in these situations, and it's impossible to. It's impossible. But if I get up trying to picture me at 20, 21 years old, gonna assume they're all about the same age or age, and I see an unconscious person, I'm not just going to call 911. I'm probably going to get someone else in the house to help me check on unconscious person. Roll over I'm not just going to assume they're unconscious. I'm going to assume they're asleep or something like that. Wouldn't you go get someone else? Especially at that age, you don't really have the nerve. You've never called 911 before. So I'm thinking you go to find someone else saying, hey, they're passed out, something like that. You go and you're going to find 3 other unconscious people, right? Right? Something's very bizarre here. How did this person that called 911 because somebody was unconscious, because I don't know what body that this person came across first, how did they not notice the blood everywhere? This has been noted in every article. It's one of the very first things that was noted by the authorities. There's blood everywhere. Then I have another question. How did the dog not alert someone? So a stranger comes in the house, a dog is going to raise a ruckus, right? A dog's going to raise a ruckus. Now, the mayor came out, and the mayor says, the mayor of Moscow, Idaho. I guess I should tell a few things about the case first. This is at University of Idaho, Moscow, Idaho. This house is off campus. They are college students. The mayor said this is a crime of passion. Now, that, if you say crime of passion, you're actually whittling it down. And so you have a specific suspect circle, if you know what I mean. That would mean an ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, jealous coworker, jealous student, crime of passion. You know what I'm saying? But, which doesn't make sense because 4 people were murdered. It's when they talk about the blood everywhere. Well, I don't believe that's the case. They canceled classes at the university. Kaylee's sister, according to the New York Times, she said for students to get the hell out of there. Don't worry about Thanksgiving break and going home for Thanksgiving. Just get home now. This girl does not believe it's any crime of passion. I guess through further investigation, maybe a new set of eyes on it, the police have said they can't really rule out a threat to public safety. Good call. Good call. The parents want answers because they don't understand how they can say this is a targeted, isolated incident because it's not sounding like that at all. Is it targeted? Was somebody after someone in that house and couldn't leave witnesses behind? Or is there a homicidal maniac on the loose? I mean, it kind of sounds like it could be both, right? A little of each. Now, I also heard, tell me if this is correct. We want correct information here. That there was an alert sent out last Friday on Veterans Day about a possible danger on the campus. I need to find out more about that. When the blood pouring out of the house and the call saying, I have an unconscious person. Thank you, Ryan Christie. No, it was in September. Well, still in September, they say that there was a possible, how was it worded, Ryan? A possible dangerous person on campus, or how did they say it? Still. Woo. Oh, it's a lot for me. All right, so this is the alert that was put out. Moscow homicide update. How do you pronounce this? Is it pronounced Moscow, like in Russia? I heard it pronounced Moscow. How do you all say it in Idaho? Because I do not want to mess up the town's name. All right, so this is the press release that came out November 15th. On November 13th at 11:58, so right around noon on Sunday, the police department officers responded to a call on King Road for an unconscious individual. Upon arrival, officers discovered 4 individuals who were deceased. The deaths have been ruled to be homicide. Although no weapons have been located, based on preliminary information, investigators believe that an edged weapon, such as a knife, was used. Autopsies are scheduled to be completed later this week and will hopefully provide more definitive information on the exact cause of the deaths. Have a feeling the exact cause of the deaths are the edged weapon, such as a knife. If you read that paragraph backward, you can solve that part of it, right? The exact cause of the death, go a sentence up, could be the edged weapon, such as a knife. Also, based on information from the preliminary investigation, investigators believe this was an isolated, targeted attack, and there is no imminent threat to the community at large. Investigators are continuing to work diligently on establishing a timeline of relevant events to recreate the victim's activities on the evening of November 12th and early morning of November 13th, following all leads and identifying persons of interest. Currently, there are no suspects. All right, I want to know so much. First off, I would love to know what time this happened? What time? 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning? I want to know the time between each death. Sarah says 3 a.m.-ish. Do you have a link between 3 and 4 a.m.? Okay, I need to know. I need to see that. I want to know who was attacked first. Because the girls were at the food truck after midnight. That came out recently. Okay, Brian says between 3 and 4 a.m. All right, so between 3 and 4 a.m. or when this attack happened. 4 people with a knife. That's a lot. That's a lot. Oh my God. So someone in the house, because there's 2 people left alive, they weren't touched, comes across one person, but doesn't seem to notice all the blood and calls and says, "We have an unconscious person?" Of course, I would love to hear the 911 call. I know it's not released yet because I would love to hear how this was relayed. I'd love to hear how this was relayed. Here's a picture of the girls. This I got from Fox News. They're at the food truck. Fox News circled it. So if it's wrong, blame it on Fox News. So here's 2 of the girls at the food truck, Madison and Kaylee. Then they go back and they're violently attacked, beyond attacked, between 3 and 4 in the morning. You can only assume everybody's asleep because let's just say that the 2 people that are left alive, thank goodness, okay? Let's just say they're in the basement sleeping. Let's just say. Well, the other 4 would have to be sleeping, not because the other 2 are, because they can fight off an attacker. If all 4 are up there partying and someone comes in with a knife, the 4 of them can fight them off. The 2 girls can fight them off. That's my question. I'm not saying that the 2 people that are there are in on anything. How did they not hear anything? How, when the first attack was made, how did the other 5 people in the house not know one person was being attacked? How, when the 911 call was made, did they make a call about an unconscious person and not what was really going on? You can clearly see blood everywhere. And then again, I want to know how the dog was so quiet. Crazy. Crazy. All right, of course, lots of names are going around and there's going to be a ton of names because this is they're university students. I did see this. This came out. Idaho Tribune. Police department has told Idaho Tribune reporters that the individual seen in the above street camera footing is not the ex-boyfriend of the deceased, one of the deceased. The police have interviewed the ex-boyfriend and they have been cleared. So whatever ex-boyfriend they're talking about, they don't need to talk about him anymore. They don't need to talk about him anymore. Phew. This is a lot, guys. This is a lot. We don't know enough about it yet, but from what you guys have been reading, has anybody heard like who there might be the intended target? Oh, cast, hang on. Loud music. If they had the music blaring, I guess they wouldn't hear anything. But then if they cut their throat first, can't really do anything. Crime Time said in September, the campus was put on alert. See, and people are saying this just happened last Friday, this alert. And that's in an actual article. That's in an actual article. Swear to God. All right, I'm going to look at a recent news clip real quick, and then I want to look at this press conference they put out yesterday. Some people are saying this press conference is just spectacular, lots of information, and some people are actually acting kind of pissy about it, but we'll see. I've only gotten through part of it.
Now, the latest on the investigation from what Moscow PD shared with us earlier this afternoon.
She is joining us live right now with more on what the police chief had to say. She's also breaking down some new video that was released today showing at least 2 of the victims just hours before police say they were killed. Amanda, what have we learned today?
Well, we've learned a lot this afternoon. First off, the Moscow police chief says all 4 victims were stabbed, but the knife or weapon used has still not been found. And police say there was no sign of forced entry into the home, but they did say the door was still open when police arrived. Most importantly, though, tonight, police do not have a suspect at this time, but they are actively searching for one. Moscow Police Chief James Fry, University of Idaho president.
Okay, real quick. So nobody broke in. Nobody broke in. Is it someone familiar with the house that it wouldn't be a big deal for them to just let themselves in the door? You have to know people are there for your targeted attack, right? Do you think it's more than one person? I'm just asking you guys. It's very odd details. This dude will never see a case like this again. And it could very well be that they just left the doors unlocked. That's not uncommon for a lot of places. They could have left it unlocked because they were thinking, they had been coming and going all day. So I'm not too much, thinking about that. But anyway, whoever it is didn't have to break in. Do you think it was more than one person, though? Or was this done, they're saying between 3 and 4? Because my question was, if it was done in stages. Oh, hang on. This is interesting. Jamie said, apparently a lot of people knew the key code. Okay. That does not surprise me. Sarah, one person. Do you guys think it's one person or more than one? Miss Linda says more than one.
Scott Green and the director of Idaho State Police, Colonel Kendrick Wills, all spoke at today's press conference. Before Wednesday's press conference, Moscow police had only told the public the 4 students were found dead inside the home late Sunday morning. Wednesday, they revealed that all 4 victims were stabbed to death. Chief Fry says 2 other roommates were at the home during the attack, but were not injured, and he is not calling them witnesses. He said they were also home when police arrived at the house. Fry did not say why the call to police was not until noon on Sunday, when the attack happened in the early morning hours. Police said it appeared to be a targeted attack, but did not explain why. Moscow police have also been saying that they do not believe there is an ongoing threat to the community. But today, the tone changed. Police say the search for a suspect continues and people should look out for each other. Meantime, we found this video from a Moscow food truck that's from early Sunday morning. It shows 2 of the students, Kaylee and Maddie, ordering food around 1:40 a.m. This is one of the last times they were seen. Moscow police say this video is helping investigators recreate a timeline of events from that night.
And it has helped. It gives us a time and space where we know that 2 of our victims were, and that helps us a ton, and we'll continue to follow up all leads that we can.
The family of Kaylee Gonsalves have seen the video and agreed to let us publish it. They identified Maddie Mogan wearing the long black jacket and Kaylee, who is with her, in the white sweatshirt.
It's normally a place where everyone feels really safe.
Joseph Woodall is the manager of the grub truck. He is seen in the video working the cash register, taking the girl's order. This afternoon, he described their interaction with me.
One of the blondes was just a little bit more cheery and kind of bouncing around a little bit more. And then one was like standing there and doing the hello, how are you? And goes through the interactions. And normally that's pretty normal. In most of our groups, there's people that are more energetic and people that are managing the energetic people.
Joseph told me he felt incredibly sad when he learned the news about the girls he had just seen the other night.
Hope they find the person. Hope they get the person.
Is the manager of the...
I want to see this guy try to hug up on this girl. Jesse says, I think they went for the two girls and the couple did hear something and that's why they're gone. Good theory. Good theory. Followed the two girls back. And maybe Xana woke up and Ethan came in to defend. It could be something like that. I got to watch this video again. Hey, Sal, where you been? Sal, who do you think has a strange reaction? Are you saying when the manager said that about one of the girls was kind of like happy-go-lucky? Good Grandma says the guy in the video is suspicious. Yeah, I want to understand the overkill too. And they say it's targeted. You target 4 people? Mind you, these 4 are good friends, but you targeted 4 people?
The grub truck. He is seen in the video working the cash register, taking the girl's order. This afternoon, he described their interaction with me.
One of the blondes was just a little bit more cheery and kind of bouncing around a little bit more. And then one was like standing there and doing the hello, how are you? And goes through the interactions. And normally that's pretty normal. In most of our groups, there's people that are more energetic and people that are managing the energetic people.
Joseph told me he felt incredibly sad when he learned the news about the girls he had just seen the other night.
Hope they find the person. Hope they get the person.
Now, just a couple hours ago, the Chief Fry, also admitted he should have been standing in front of the public, in front of the media, addressing our questions earlier. But he says, I'm here now, I'm here today. And he says investigators are currently working diligently to get answers. In fact, moving forward, we were told in this press conference that all future updates on this homicide investigation will come from the Idaho State Police. Reporting in Moscow tonight.
So the Idaho State Police is going to, they're going to address everything from now on. I guess they're not happy with the communication from their local PD. I don't know. A couple of the girls, I think, are all 3 of the girls in sororities? And who lived there? Who was just spending the night and who lived there? I got to write that down. All right, I got to look at this press conference. Have you guys seen the whole press conference? Yamaha biker. Yeah, I know the state would have more resources, but when they say that the Idaho State Police will be basically taking over the communications, I just wonder why they're going to relay communications as opposed to your local law enforcement. Of course, they have more resources.
Everybody here? My name is Chief James Fry with the Moscow Police Department. I'm going to be reading from my notes today because I want the information you received to be extremely accurate. We know you have questions, and so do we. That is why we're here. I'd like to thank everyone for attending this press conference. Joining me today is the Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson, University of Idaho President Scott Green, Provost and Vice President Tori Lawrence, University of Idaho Dean of Students Blaine Eccles, Latah County Sheriff Richie Skiles, Chief Deputy of Latah County Tim Best, Idaho State Police Colonel Kedrick Wills. The Moscow Police Department would like to extend our condolences to all family members, friends, the University of Idaho, and the Moscow community. This was a horrible crime that took the lives of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves. This horrible crime has affected all of us, the families, the University of Idaho, our community, our country, and our officers. Agencies that are involved in this task force include Latah County Sheriff's Office, the Idaho State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations. As we continue our investigation, we have learned that Ethan and Xana were at a party on campus, and Madison and Kaylee were at a downtown bar. They arrived home sometime after 1:45. If anyone in our community or across our nation has any information about these times or the victim's whereabouts, please call our tip line at 208-883-7180. The facts of the case that we know right now. We know that these homicides occurred in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th. Around noon, Moscow officers received a call of an unconscious person. Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves inside the residence on King Road. The four were stabbed with a knife, but no weapon has been located at this time. There was no sign of forced entry into the residence. Investigators are continuing to collect evidence at the scene. Investigators are working to develop a timeline to relevant events. Autopsies are taking place today on all the victims so we can continue to gather evidence and solve the crime. Investigators are working to follow up on all leads and to identify a person of interest. Based on details at the scene, we believe this was an isolated, targeted attack on our victims. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there. We cannot say that there's no threat to the community, and as we have stated, please stay vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and be aware of your surroundings at all times.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. He said no forced entry. There's one weapon, so I'm going to assume there's one person, unless somebody was there just hanging out and keeping watch. I'm going to assume they were asleep, but it's targeted, which means they were after someone there, targeted, isolated, but there could be a threat to the community. Huh. Now I'm extremely confused. We know what targeted isolated means. There's a target. Once your target is hit and done, there should not be a danger to the public because the target's out of the way. Here we go.
What we do know, or what we don't know, excuse me, the identity and location of the suspect, the location of the knife or any clothing that was worn by the suspect. Currently, we have 25 plus investigators working this case, as well as assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Idaho State Police. We're reviewing video that has been collected, but we are asking citizens to contact us with any information you may have that will help in this investigation. Once again, we're asking anyone with a tip to call the tip line at 208-883-7180. At this time, I would like to introduce the University of Idaho President, Scott Green.
Thank you, Chief Fry. I'm Scott Green, President of the University of Idaho, and with me is Tori Lawrence. He's our Provost, and Blaine Eccles, our Dean of Students, will be available for questions after all of the statements are made. The crime, to us, this crime and the loss of these young lives is just simply beyond comprehension. While our small community is certainly not immune to such things, it's not a situation our close-knit campus is used to dealing with. First, my deepest condolences to the families. And friends of Ethan, Kaylee, Zena, and Madison. Excuse me. Their loss has been devastating, and they were bright lights in our community and are deeply missed and remain in our thoughts and our prayers. We've been working with Moscow Police since we were notified on Sunday of the crime. We've helped when asked and continually push for information whenever possible, knowing that we cannot interfere with the important work and good investigations that are occurring. We just want justice for these victims. Our focus at the university is to support our students and our employees. We are encouraging students and employees to take care of themselves as we head into Thanksgiving break. I want to take a moment to commend our faculty and staff who have been on the front lines helping our students, whether that is providing counseling to those in need of support, accommodating those who want to travel home, or engaging those who find comfort in staying busy interacting with their peers and our instructors in class. Our employees stepped up when our students needed them. While we have relied heavily on the expertise of Moscow Police, we feel confident that remaining open with flexibility to leave allows our students to decide what is best for them. The weeks ahead will continue to challenge us as this loss and the circumstances around this crime become known. We will support each other as we grieve, and we'll move through this together as a Vandal family. Thank you.
I would like to have Colonel Kedrick Wills come to the podium, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Kedrick Wills. I serve as the director of the Idaho State Police. And as we have this discussion today, I'd like to express my appreciation for your attendance here, because it's important, vitally important, that we get the information that we have out to the public. Crime knows no boundaries, and these murders have shaken us to our very core. You heard the university president as well as the chief of police talk about this small community, and it's a very close, tight-knit community. And our hearts break for the families that lost their loved ones, the University of Idaho, the Moscow community, and even within our entire state. Be assured, the Idaho State Police is firmly in support of the work that the Moscow Police Department is doing, and we are providing every resource that we can to make sure that this comes to a conclusion, and that the person or people that this is responsible are brought to justice. It's so important that you understand that this takes a team effort. This is teamwork with the university, with this Moscow City Police Department, the Latah County Sheriff's Office, the Idaho State Police, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It takes everybody to be able to do this. And it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act of getting the community the information that they need to have with making sure that we provide a case that the Latah County Prosecutor's Office can go forward with. Governor Little, Idaho's governor, has assured me that the full weight of all the resources we have within our state are available to Chief Fry and to his team. Our crime lab is also involved with processing evidence, and Our law enforcement throughout the region, state and federal agencies continue to provide resources. From the Idaho State Police's perspective, we provided detectives here from this area, as well as detectives from out of the area, state police detectives, as well as patrol resources and communications assistance as well to provide for Chief Fry and his team. Following this briefing, our communications director from the Idaho State Police, Aaron Snell, if you'd raise your hand, Aaron, he will be the contact for all press media inquiries from here on out. He'll be working closely with Chief Fry and his team. And we have additional, like I said, additional patrol and investigation resources brought to bear here as well. We want to do everything we can to make sure that this is done correctly and that the people that are responsible for this are brought to justice.
So at this time, I'm going to open it up to some questions that I'm sure you have, and we'll do the best we can to answer those for you.
Hello, Chief Ray.
Hello.
Thank you for having us. I'm Amanda Rowley with Creme 2 News. You mentioned that there's an indication that it's an isolated, targeted incident, and there is an individual somewhere. Can you give us a reason as to why there's that belief there is a suspect? And can you also give a little more information on the forced entry? There's no sign of forced entry, but was the door, did it seem like any of the entries were left unlocked by any means?
I'll answer the last part there just because it's at the front end of my mind. We're not 100% sure if the door was unlocked, but there was no damage to anything, and the door was still open when we got there.
And my first question,
Yeah.
if you'd like me to read.
No, I think I haven't. In these cases, we take the totality of the things that we see, and they're very dynamic, right? And they're very big, and there's a lot of information, and we try to take that information, and some of it we can't share with you, correct? But we try to take that information, we try to make the best educated decision we can. We review that as a team with our detectives, along with our prosecutors, along with the university, and we try to make that best decision on that. So we, at that time, believe that there was no a threat, and our goal is to provide safety for this community. That's why we're bringing in the resources we're bringing. We want a close to this, and we want to do everything we can to let the people in our community know that we care. We want them to feel safe. We want them to be safe, and we're going to do everything we can to do that.
And if I could add one more question. You asked for videos or anything from the community to help put together that timeline. We obtained a copy of Twitch video, and family members of the Gonsalves family were able to identify Maddie and Kaylee in those videos at a food truck ordering food. Is the police department, our investigators, aware of that video, and has it helped put together that timeline?
We are aware of that video, and it has helped. It gives us a time and space where we know that two of our victims were, and that helps us a ton, and we'll continue to follow up all leads that we can and continue to gather those.
Any indication of a party at the home that night?
This will be the last one, okay, I understand. Not that we know of, not at the home. We know that the other, let me get the names exactly right here. We know that Zaina and Ethan were at a different party on campus. But that timeline will still help us if other people know about that.
Thank you.
Chief Wright, John Webb with KHQ. On September 12th, there was a vandal alert that was sent out about a potential stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Not that we know of it, but we're following up every lead. Every piece of information we get, we are following up to ensure that nothing has gone unturned. We want to have the individual identified, who is the suspect of this eventually. So we are literally looking into every aspect of everything.
And you guys have said repeatedly that there's no threat to the public, but we don't know who the suspect is. We don't know where he's at. How is there no threat to the public at this point?
Well, that's kind of an unknown. Like I said, we took the information that we had at the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant. We need to watch out for our neighbors. We're a community policing community. We've said that for years, and it's a community that watches out for each other. We need to continue to do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple of days? I mean, we're almost 4 days into this. Why has it been so limited?
Yeah, it's a difficult, we have a lot of information coming in, and, we have tried to push out some information through press releases. But the reality is, I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can. We care about this community. I care about this community. I've worked here for 27 years. I want this community to be the safest community around. So
The mayor's called it a crime of passion. Is there any indication that that's true?
we're looking into every aspect of this. I'm not going to stipulate whether it's one thing or another. We're going to continue to investigate until we have the facts, because really it's the facts that will.
Okay, this poor guy. I kind of feel bad for Chief Fry. Actually, I do. He's a nervous wreck. I get this really doesn't have anything to do with the crime per se, but he seems to be a nervous wreck. And he says, I know I should have been standing here before. Well, these are uncharted waters for him. So it makes sense that he tried to put it off. The dean broke my heart. I have a lot of questions. Hang on one second. I got to go back for a second. Before this went on, I wanted to address something.
At the time, but we do need to be aware the individual is still out there, right? We need to be vigilant. We need to watch out for our neighbors. We're a community policing community. We've said that for years, and it's a community that watches out for each.
I know what it was now. So like I said at the beginning of the show, the mayor spoke out, and it was picked up by many publications. I don't know who he gave the original interview to, and said this is a crime of passion. Is this his opinion, or is this something that was said to him by Chief Fry? Because Chief Fry is going way around that statement, just saying we need to be vigilant. We need to be vigilant. Also, he says the door was left open. I'm just wondering, how was nobody woke up? I understand college kids can sleep in till 10, 11, noon, 1 in the afternoon after being out till 1, 2 in the morning. I get that. But it's cold. How did the cold not wake anybody up? So the way that this is being described is kind of like we're just throwing all possibilities to see what sticks, because when it comes out, we don't want to look like we didn't know we were doing in a way. We have targeted and isolated, but we need the community. We need to be vigilant, because we could have a homicidal maniac on our hands. And I think Yamaha said, well, of course, because you've got someone unhinged out in the community. They don't know that. This unhinged person, whoever did this, could have already gone back home. They could have left with the drove of kids that got the hell out of there to go home. And hey, when you solve this, we'll be back. It's scary.
Each other. We need to continue to do that until we can close this off and make an arrest.
Why has there been such limited information over the past couple of days? I mean, we're almost 4 days into this. Why has it been so limited?
Yeah, it's a difficult. We have a lot of information coming in, and we have tried to push out some information through press releases. But the reality is, I probably should have been standing here a day or so ago, but I'm here now. We're going to continue to be here. We're going to continue to give you the information we can. We care about this community. I care about this community. I've worked here for 27 years. I want this community to be the safest community around. So
The mayor's called it a crime of passion. Is there any indication that that's true?
we're looking into every aspect of this. I'm not going to stipulate whether it's one thing or another. We're going to continue to investigate until we have the facts, because really it's the facts that will drive what the cause of this is. And as we gather evidence, we'll get that. So.
Okay. One last question, if I could, Chief. Have we looked at any boyfriends or any ex-boyfriends, any spouses as a potential suspect?
I will tell you, we are looking at everyone. Every tip we get, every lead we get, there's no one that we're not going to talk to. There's no one we're not going to interview. There's no one that we're not going to look into. And we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to make sure that nothing goes unturned, and that we do everything we can with the assistance of all the resources we have to get a final answer.
Okay, thanks, Chief Fry.
So there were, sorry, I'm Emma Epperly with the Spokes Interview. Hi. So there were other roommates who lived at that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation?
No, it was not.
And then they didn't call it into police, so were they injured?
They were not injured, but like I said, we're still following up with everybody that could have been in that area.
And how can you say it's a targeted attack if you don't have a suspect?
Like I said, we take the totality of the situation. We try to make the best bit of information we can with everything that comes in, and then we make our decision off of that. So at this time, I'm not going to expand upon that. But like I've said, we do have a suspect out somewhere, and we are looking for that individual to solve this.
Hi, Rachel Sun, Northwest Public Broadcasting. I just want to clarify something you said earlier. Over the past couple of days, the information that we've been getting is there's not a threat to the public. And earlier I heard you say you can't be sure that there is no threat. I just want to clarify what your stance is on that at this time.
So we still believe it's a targeted attack. But the reality is there's still a person out there who committed 4 horrible, horrible crimes. So I think we got to go back to there is a threat out there still, possibly. We don't know. We don't believe it's going to be to anybody else. But we all have to be aware of our surroundings and make sure that we're watching out for each other.
Okay, and then one other follow-up. I know you said when the call came in, it was for an unconscious person, and also that was a stabbing. It seems, just from an outside perspective looking in, like that would be not the first thing a person calling in would think.
You're right. But the report that we got was that it was an unconscious individual. It wasn't until our officers arrived on scene, went in to do caregiving check on the individual who was unconscious, that we found the scene that we found.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked. So the other 2 roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that, yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, we don't know why that call came in at noon and not in the middle of the.
Okay, these are like seasoned reporters. They know what to ask. And for some reason, it seems like they're kind of trying to trip him up a little bit. I'm so glad that he caught that with that reporter just now when he goes, I didn't say they were witnesses. There's a big difference between being there, living in the house, and being asleep. Yamaha. I love that avatar, by the way. That's why they're still alive. I hope they protect the identity of the 2 people that survived the attack big time. Shame on this reporter. He cannot tell them exactly what's going on. And you can tell he's a fish out of water. This isn't something that he's used to dealing with. These reporters are savages. They are. They're trying to trip him up. Do not release the names of these two roommates. I hope on Sunday they got them the hell out of Dodge. I hope they got them the hell out of Idaho. I hope they're back home, wherever they live. I hope, and do not release those names. Do not. Because if the attack happened between 3 and 4 in the morning, college kids, they've all been out, right? It wasn't just the 4 victims and the 4 victims that went out. Of course, the 2 roommates went out too. Everybody went out that night. Somebody's going to release their name, and I have a feeling I know who's going to wind up getting a hold of them. It's ridiculous.
The night. Would have we loved for that to have happened? Yes, but that's not how it took place. So that's why we're investigating everything still to try to pull all the pieces together.
Were they one of the people? Were they the 911 caller?
At this point in time, I'm not going to divulge who our 911 caller is, just because I want to keep the integrity of the investigation at this point. Okay.
Okay. And last question: are you able to tell whether the same weapon was used on all 4 victims?
That's why we're having the autopsies done. The autopsy will confirm that and hopefully collect some evidence for us, even from those. That's why you do the autopsies, is to try to be thorough and try to gather more. So we'll leave that would probably be something that would come out later.
Okay.
Excuse me, Derek Shug, Fox News Digital. Was there anything missing in the home, or were the purses still there? Any robbery attempt, anything like that?
Nothing that we have identified. And I'm going to take about 2 more questions. All right.
Hi, I'm Tim with the Daily Evergreen. I was just wondering, were the 2 other individuals present at the home when police responded at noon?
Yes.
Okay.
Chief, if you don't mind elaborating a bit more on those 2 people. Was it 2 people? What have those people shared about the circumstances of that night, what they saw or didn't see?
Well, I'm not going to go into what they shared that night. Obviously, that's part of our investigation. That's part of the information that we're trying to build our complete story with. So as far as that goes, we're not going to go any further into what they know and what they don't know.
How many were there?
We believe 2.
Have you looked into the social media accounts of all the different victims? And do you, we understand that one may have had an account linked to her Instagram account. Have you looked into those accounts? Have you seen any sort of threats made to any of the individuals?
So we are looking at all resources. We got, like I said, the Federal Bureau of Investigation helping us. We got our detectives, our forensic detectives looking into that. We're trying to pull this whole picture. We're looking at everything that we can look at, social media, etc. So to answer your question, yes, we are.
Were the victims all found in one part of the house?
I'm not going to divulge that either. That's part of our investigation. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and close this off. But if you have any questions for the university, we'll open that up at this point in time.
Who has not had a chance to ask a question? Yes, over here.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thanks. Actually, I had a question for the chief, so I don't know.
Okay, well, you want to pass it?
Okay. What is the university doing to make their students feel safe?
Yeah, great question. At this time, I think I'll turn this over to Blaine, who's been dealing directly with our students and dealing with those that truly still feel unsafe despite some of the assurances and things that we're doing. Blaine?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the question. A question of safety is on everyone's mind right now. We have increased campus safety patrols. Our executive director of campus safety and security, Jake Nichols, is out in the hallway actually here, and so I'm sure he'd be able to answer some of those questions. We have a campus safety escort where students can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to arrange for a security escort to be escorted across campus during the day or night. It doesn't matter at any point in time. We're also providing resources to students to help them navigate through this from an emotional standpoint. We've had drop-in counseling that has been utilized both in our counseling center as well as the student union building. And we're also supporting students, like President Green indicated, that if they want to leave and go home now, they absolutely can. We're going to support them in doing so. Many students have questions about their academics and whatnot, but this is a very dynamic, fluid situation, and we want to make sure we're supporting students and their families to get through this the way that they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Washington State University is about 8 miles that way. What would you suggest that Wazoo does to make their students feel safe if they're unsafe?
Yeah, the communication and encouraging students to reach out and use resources. That's a fantastic campus. I talked to their dean of students office yesterday, and they are mobilizing their support resources. All campuses have supports in place. Students just need to make sure they're leaning in and reaching out to it. And many times students don't, but we encourage that. Absolutely.
Hi, this is Hadia Thark with the Argonaut. This may be a question for Scott Green or Blaine.
I don't know why.
Class, they gain
Oh, they got a problem on the
comfort
other end.
from interacting and staying busy with their faculty and attending classes, labs. Some are working on their semester projects. So we've heard from them. At the same time, we want to provide the ability for any student who did not feel comfortable staying around, who did not want, who was unable to process that way, that they had that opportunity to go, and we've been helping them as well. All these absences are excused. We've asked our faculty to work with those students who chose to go, so we felt this was the best way, to respond, to give as much flexibility as we could to our students and our faculty to help manage the situation. And frankly, I think they've done a very, very good job. Thank you.
Is the university working with the parents or the families of the victims? Are you in touch with them?
They are. I'll turn that back over to Blaine. I know we both have been in contact with the families, but he's been very close to it. And so, Blaine, you want to take that question?
Absolutely. One of the hardest jobs I have is talking to parents of students who have died. It's the absolute worst part of my job. And so I've reached out and made contact with all the families. We've offered our support, and we're going to stay in constant contact with them. I communicated with them almost every day. We usually give it a little space and time before we reach out, just for the sheer shock of absorbing the loss of a child and what that looks like. But we're going to stay in support of them moving forward for the weeks and months to come, and in whatever capacity they need.
We've talked to a few of them, and they've expressed some frustration with the lack of communication from investigators and from the officials involved on that side of it. Has the university heard that from them? How are you working with them to help kind of close that communication gap?
Sure. I do know that Captain Barrett from the Moscow Police Department is also in constant contact with them. He reaches out to them on a regular basis. From that standpoint, I think it's safe to say everyone, the families most of all, want information, and they want justice. And I can't do anything but honor what their needs are and what they are. Whenever I hear a concern from the family members about what's going on, I definitely make sure I communicate that to the Moscow Police Department. They're very busy. They're working, the men and women of this department are working really hard on their behalf and on our community's behalf. But if I can be a conduit to share information, we're absolutely going to do that.
Has there been any update on the candlelight vigil that is postponed till after the break?
I believe it's November 30th.
November 30th.
November
At what time?
We're looking at 5 or 5:30. We're trying to finalize. Well, let me say.
Yeah.
There was a candlelight vigil that was originally scheduled tonight, but because of the volume of students who have left, we want to make sure we're creating a space where they can participate. We don't want someone driving back during this time to do that. So we've rescheduled to November 30th. We haven't finalized the time. We will definitely be sharing that out to our students in our community and the larger community.
I'd be watching that candlelight vigil like a hawk. I would treat it just the way Indiana State Police did in 2019 when they did their new direction press conference. I would make everybody that goes sign in. I would have names of everybody. 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 Everyone. like Scott Peterson, yes. Just like Delphi 2019, they said, we want everybody signs in. Everybody. All right, one weapon. So unless the person that did this brought someone to be on the lookout, it's one person that did this. Left 2 people alive in the house. I have a lot of question about the neighbors. We already know that the 2 people that were in the house didn't hear anything. 2 girls went to a bar. Ethan and Xana went to a party. I'm going to assume everybody might have had something to drink. I still think unconscious is an odd description to make when you call 911. Calling at noon doesn't really raise any red flags with me. They'd all been out partying that night. I'm surprised anybody was up at noon. Surprised it wasn't more like 3 in the afternoon somebody called. Unconscious. I'm trying to figure out how the person that came across the unconscious, because had they touched this person, let's say they first came across Kaylee. How would you just assume Kaylee's unconscious as opposed to sleeping? You would have to try to shake her, and at some point you would realize there's blood everywhere. I'm really confused about this. Again, I said I hope they protect the caller. Looks like they have not done that because the Daily Mail got a hold of it. That was my guess. And Grumpy said Daily Mail's already gotten to it. Shit. Again, I wonder if they're telling the community to be vigilant, but this person could have already left the community. This could be a student that said, I'm scared, and went back home. I don't know. I would think leaving the door open, there's a difference between the door being cracked, ajar, as opposed to open. So I need more of a description of how the door was left because it's freaking cold. It is freezing. How did the cold air not wake up the 2 that, I shouldn't say survived the attack. I'm going to assume the 2 that the killer just did not know were in the house. Yamaha said if the door was open, ajar, which there is a difference, they may have seen them from the street or porch without entering. That brings me to my next question. We've heard these crimes about the Uber drivers. We've heard some stuff about the Uber drivers. Did the girls take an Uber? I don't think they would walk a mile or 2 back from the food truck. Still the dog. I wonder about the dog. If this is a stranger, the dog would be raising hell. Whoever it is, unless it's an Uber driver, well, anyone. They had to have transportation to and from. Was anybody spotted on a bicycle? Was there a car seen? Is it a neighbor? Someone that it was in walking distance? I don't know. I'm going to drop the link. If you guys want to come up and tell me your theory, which it's going to be a very early on theory. I apologize for my ignorance in this case because I'm just getting into this and it's a lot. Exactly. Sword, did someone give them a ride? Super cool avatar, by the way. Did someone give them a ride? I kind of still look at the food truck video and there's a guy in the video that looks a little creepy to me. I still cannot get over this 911 call reporting an unconscious person. I need a lot more details. And they don't ever give me the details I want. Because every single article I've read, and sometimes they piggyback off another article. You know what I mean? The press does that. They piggyback off the other one. If it's already made it through the editorial department in one news station, they figure, well, it's good to go here, right? So every single article has mentioned this freaking Friday the 13th, blood galore everywhere. The picture I saw, you can definitely tell something's going on. So when the person that lives there, that obviously the killer didn't know about, said we have an unconscious person, I want to know how they knew the person was unconscious. Because what would they do? Walk up, like I said, let's say it's Kaylee. You walk up, you're shaking Kaylee. I don't even know why you would shake Kaylee to wake her up. She's an adult, right? But let's just say she's not moving. Then you're like, well, she's not really moving. And when she moves, it's different than people normally move when you're trying to wake them up. Oh, she's unconscious. But you didn't notice all the blood. When someone is stabbed, there's a lot of blood. Unless the media is just saying that. Maybe that was what was reported to the media. Like I said, the 911 call is going to be a lot different when it's released. This is crazy. This is crazy.
We're just finalizing some details. We're going to communicate that with the families as well. It'll be on campus. We haven't figured out the location yet because we're going to be monitoring what the weather looks like. We anticipate a large amount of individuals. That being said, we also have two communities that are just providing beautiful support. There's a Candlelight Vigil in Boise tonight in honor of our lost students. And there's also a Candlelight Vigil tonight in Coeur d'Alene. And I say nothing but thank you and for the love and support from those communities that are supporting us. And we've seen that support come across the country and around the world for the University of Idaho and these families. And so it's a beautiful thing.
President Green, can you talk a little bit about the vandal alert that involved the knife and how the university handled it and what you found in that case?
Yeah, so basically we were just responding to the information that we had from the Moscow Police Department at that time. We have an incident response team. We gathered Sunday as we were notified by the Moscow Police Department that there had been a crime committed. At the time, we weren't sure if they were students or not, and we wanted to provide help to the Moscow Police Department, and we think we were able to do that successfully to help them, identify those students and contact their relatives. So, beyond that, it was just trying to understand what the assessment was of the risk to the campus. And we relied on our subject matter experts, as you've heard. They know more than any of us about this. And then based on that, we started making decisions about, how to move forward this week.
Yeah, and so what were those decisions around that initial alert? What was the conclusion you had at that point about the level of risk?
Well, of course, your first, on the first vandal alert, it was high risk. We had really no information, and we asked our students to shelter in place, and until we got the all clear, it wasn't an all clear, but a reduced risk where we could where students could start to move around more freely. We had people sheltering in places like the library and the Pittman Center and places around campus. And we didn't want to keep them there all night if we didn't have to. And so as soon as Moscow Police Department determined that it was safe for them to begin moving around but be vigilant, we sent the other vandal alerts.
Yeah, my apologies. I was referring to the earlier vandal alert involving the threatening with the knife that happened in September.
We're happy to be joined. Yeah, you want to respond to that? Thank you, Blaine.
So that vandal alert, we had a group of students walking back to Greek Row from a location off campus. They encountered an individual who was not affiliated with the university. They got into, from my understanding, a verbal altercation, and he ended up flashing a knife at them. It was not a stabbing. It was not a stabbing attack. It was a threat, to the best that we know. We sent out a vandal alert warning the individuals of our campus community at that time. I don't have the specific date, but it's out there from that aspect of it. And it's my understanding that individual then later turned himself into law enforcement, and they've addressed what that happens.
So it's not connected in any way to this homicide?
That's a question for law enforcement.
You know who he is? September 12th.
I know about the incident. I don't know the individual because he's not affiliated with the university. So my understanding, he turned himself into law enforcement. So.
Yeah, he didn't handle that question well. Nope. They did not realize this is coast to coast news. So not your regular journalist from around town showed up. You can tell just by the way they introduced themselves. So when he says, well, he's not affiliated with the university, so I wouldn't know. So they're kind of like, well, you damn sure should know if you want to keep your students safe. Maybe there's a problem here. He stumbled around that because, well, you could be looking at a lawsuit. You could be looking at a lawsuit. You basically, I feel bad. I feel bad for everybody involved. I really do. The prosecutor, which I can't believe already came out and talked. Hang on one second. I'm going to get this loaded. Did not mean to mute myself, but I did. Do you guys think that it could be one of the roommates? A neighbor? What are you thinking? Are you thinking somebody that knew one of the victims? Or is this a random deal? I don't know. Obviously, right now, we would just be guessing with no bloody footprints outside. Avy said stalker. Hey, insanely confused. A lot of people talk about the guy that gives them the creeps at the food truck, but I mean, how rejected do you have to feel to follow these two girls from the damn food truck back to the house, kill them, kill Ethan and Xana, of course, leave the other two roommates because you don't even know they exist, and leave. Yamaha thinks it's campus related. I lean that way too. Particularly when we just heard one of the employees of the university, and they're asking about when there was a issue before, and he stumbled around that and didn't want to answer it and said, well, I'm not in law enforcement. It's not university related. Well, it is if it has to do with the safety of your students. If it has to do with the safety of your students, it does. Absolutely.
Joined this morning by Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson. Mr. Thompson, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Police there have called this a targeted, isolated attack. Are investigators looking for a particular suspect or suspects this morning?
At this point, the investigators are looking at all possibilities. They don't have a specific suspect. They're continuing to work on that.
Do you believe that whomever did this is still at large?
Yes, we have no one in custody, and the police have been unable to identify who's responsible for these homicides.
Is it possible there's more than one suspect?
It certainly is possible. That's the purpose of the investigation. That's why we're really hoping for any information from the public that can help the investigators recreate everyone's activities Saturday night and early Sunday morning, and hopefully give them the leads, the information to identify who did this.
There's so many things about this case that are so hard to put together.
I absolutely love this prosecutor. He can honestly, just because of the beard and his demeanor, could do no wrong in my book. I'm just going to say it right now.
Veteran police officers who arrived at the scene said it was one of the most horrific and gruesome scenes that they had ever seen.
All right, I'm stopping it right there. Okay, so as Hoda just said, investigators said it's one of the most horrific and gruesome scenes they've ever seen. They've ever seen. That's what I've been reading in the articles. So, I don't mean to keep picking on the person that called 911 and said, whoever they came across first is unconscious. If the investigators say this is the most gruesome crime I've ever seen, how did the person from inside the home not relay that information to 911? Somebody unconscious is totally different than there's blood everywhere. There's blood everywhere. They're talking about an overkill here. They're talking about you need a mop. There's blood everywhere. But they call and say someone's unconscious? I don't know. I just don't know about this. Either somebody is relaying bad information, or this person just did not know how to articulate to emergency authorities what was really going on at the house.
Yet somehow there were two roommates who were in the house who apparently didn't hear anything. What are the red flags you have there, and are those roommates considered persons of interest?
Well, anybody who might have knowledge is considered persons of interest at this point. As far as suspects, I don't believe so. The investigators continue to work hard trying to interview everyone who might have any information and hopefully figure out and identify what occurred and why and who's responsible.
As we understand the timeline, and we recognize that this is an investigation very much ongoing, the four came home, early in the morning, Sunday morning, let's say 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. The 911 call didn't come until midday the next day. Does that raise any red flags for you? How do you explain that?
I think the investigators are trying to ascertain why there was a delay and what actually occurred, what was heard. That's a question that's still out there. And I know they're working on that. We're trying to assist them as much as possible with obtaining search warrants for data and cell records and social media and anything that might help.
Do you know who called 911? Can you reveal who reported this?
I can't reveal who made the 911 call. The police do know who made the 911 call, though.
Obviously, we don't know anything about motive, but the mayor did initially refer to this crime as a crime of passion. Why did he say that?
I can't speak for Mayor Betke. To my knowledge, there is nothing to indicate that this has been determined to be a crime of passion. We know it's just a horrible crime, and 4 young lives have been lost.
And finally, initially, investigators and the police had said the community has nothing to worry about. Now they've sort of said, well, of course we should be vigilant because there is a suspect or suspects still at large. What is your message to that community this morning?
Well, I think the fact of the matter is that whoever is responsible for these murders is still at large. The investigators do not know who that person is. From what they've told my office, they believe that this was what they call a targeted attack and not just a random act of violence. And I think they tried to communicate that, but obviously that communication didn't work very well. It's unfortunate for any confusion in the community. People just need to be vigilant and help us however they can. We hope that we can identify who's responsible and get them off the streets as soon as we can.
We're sure your officers and prosecutors are working hard there. Thank you so much, Latah County Prosecuting Attorney Bill Thompson.
Love that prosecutor. Like I said, he can do no wrong in my book. And I've just heard a 2-minute interview with Savannah and Hoda. Now, as I'm sitting here with my uneducated self in this area, and I say, I don't find it odd at all that they called at noon. I don't find it odd at all. They're college students. They'd been out all night. I'm surprised they called at noon is what I said. Hell, I'm surprised they didn't wake up till 3 in the afternoon. You hear him say, we're trying to figure out the delay. We're trying to find out the delay. So they find that delay odd. Okay, so we can't forget that. Jamie and I both have a problem with the word targeted. Okay. Me personally, there wouldn't have been any call about an unconscious friend because with the scene described, I wouldn't have called at all. I would have been running down the street, screaming for help. Whether we're talking about 20-year-old Brooks, 21-year-old Brooks, or 40-year-old Brooks, I would have been running my ass down the street, screaming for help. There would not have been a call at noon saying someone is still sleepy. And I think we can guess the prosecutor here, who does no wrong in my book, when he said, when they asked about the mayor said this is a crime of passion, he kind of chuckled a little bit and said, well, I don't know, what the mayor is, where the mayor got that type of thing. The mayor just spoke out his ass. Okay, so we can check that off our list. The mayor was not even giving an educated guess. The mayor, probably being the mayor, nothing against this mayor. I don't know this mayor. He's a politician. And he probably wanted to sound a little, savvy for the media he was speaking to. So anyway, crime of passion, we can forget about that, right? There is no crime of passion. The mayor spoke out his ass. The only person right now that doesn't speak out his ass and doesn't trip over words is the guy that can do no wrong, and he's on the screen. And our friend backstage, Pat. Hello, Pat.
Hi there. How you doing?
Oh, wow. It's a true crime typhoon right now, my friends. We have a lot of true crime going on.
I was asleep and I woke up to this live, so I didn't catch the first 20 minutes of it. But I'm sort of thinking the two that went to the party, maybe there was some jealous thing there, and that's why they originally said crime of passion and targeted.
Okay, so you're doing it opposite. So instead of us thinking that the target could be Kaylee or Maddie from the food truck or from the bar, the crime of passion, which I'm just going to say right now, the mayor doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So could have been from the party where Ethan and Xana were. There could have been some jealousy over one of the other of them.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking. When he said targeted, that really, it's like targeted with 4 people. I don't think so. The target would have to be, to me, one of the 4 people or 2 people, and then the other ones were there or came in or woke up or something.
Yes.
I don't know. It's still 4 people. That's horrific. It's just.
Well, yeah, 4 people. You're talking about a stabbing, and that's very personal. Very personal.
That's why I was thinking more targeted from jealousy. People can really get whacked out with that. So I was sort of leaning that way. That's what I thought of immediately, even though, the 2 young girls does seem, we always go to that, 2 young girls, but I don't know. I was sort of thinking it might be the jealousy, and that's why they even said at the beginning targeted. So did somebody, I don't know, maybe there's some rumors out there about an ex-boyfriend, something like that.
The only ex-boyfriend, and they have not mentioned his name, the tweets on the screen from the Idaho Tribune. Police have told Idaho Tribune reporters that the individual seen in the above street camera footing is not the ex-boyfriend of the deceased. The police have interviewed that ex-boyfriend and they have been cleared. But you know there's got to be another ex, somebody talking to somebody online or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another in plain sight type of thing going on like we have in Fruitland or in Delphi. And if this person, the community probably doesn't even need to be that vigilant. That person could be one of the droves of kids that said, no, it's too dangerous here, I'm going home.
Yeah, I was also thinking a neighbor. Because if there was that much blood, a horrific scene, as they said, the guy would have had, or I'm assuming it's a guy, I guess I shouldn't, but I am. He would have had to have blood all over him or blood on his clothes or and acted freaky the next day. You know, I could see him hightailing it out of there. Maybe one of the girls had a stalker. You know, I don't know. I've been watching all these murder mysteries all week, so now I've got all this stuff in my head.
Now you can solve the crime. You're studied up. Well, that's what Avi said too. Avi said stalker. A lot of people are leaning towards jealousy. I don't see it just being random. There would have to be something there that they would want. I keep thinking, I'm trying to find pictures from inside the house, guys. If anybody has them, you can send them on Messenger or email or however you want to do it. C-Star said Bundy was random. That's true. True.
Yeah.
By the time Bundy got to that type of carnage, though, he was a seasoned pro. There hasn't been any other attacks like this in the area.
That we know of. I know universities like to keep things, you know, low key.
MH says Gray Hughes has pics from inside the house. Oh, I get it, but Gray Hughes wasn't inside the house. The pictures are on Google. I can grab them real quick. They're just you can just Google them. They're on Fox News and everything.
Yeah, how far away were these two that were still asleep? Like they could have been in a back bedroom with the door shut, and yeah, they could have been, you know, had a few drinks and passed out. And then they might not have heard anything. You'd think there'd be some noise. 4 people dead. Like, you would think there would be, unless all of them were quite inebriated, you know.
Well, and my thing is, I don't know why everybody is so quick to assume that this was just a simple, I say simple, I'm going to get it from YouTube on this, but that they just came in and just started, you know, slit their throats or whatever. Well, here's the thing. If assuming all 4 of them were asleep, which is a good assumption, people sleep in different positions.
Right.
Some people sleep on their side. Some people sleep on their stomach. Some people sleep with the covers up over their head. And some people sleep, you know, with the covers up to their chin. We can't assume that everybody is laying flat on their back with their throat exposed. So I don't think I'm being ridiculous by saying, why did nobody hear anything, including the 3 other victims when victim 1 was attacked?
Yeah. Doesn't that seem odd? It all seems sort of odd. The beginning when they said the whatever the mayor said. So nobody sort of believes that it was a crime of passion. Is that what's sort of taking place now?
Just the mayor. Just the mayor right now.
Just the mayor thinks so. Unless somebody said something to him, like he wouldn't pick his information out of the air, would he? Somebody would have had to say something. And that's what led passionate or crime of passion and targeted together. That's why I'm thinking there's some rumor out there, maybe just in the police, where they're looking at some jealousy stuff.
They did mention social media, which that is the norm. That is the norm. That's always going to be looked at forever, forever. And they said, yeah, we're going through their social medias. You're going to find a social media. Definitely. You're going to find some connection there if it truly is a crime of passion or if this is jealousy. If this is a
Yes.
jealousy. Grumpy said in Kaylee's TikToks, you can hear how the house echoes. Hardwood floors throughout would not be quiet. There's got to be a noise. Exactly. There's got to be a noise. This Rambo or Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator coming in and having that type of precision to do this to 4 people without making a squeak. Impossible. Impossible.
That's what I'm thinking. But then we have had serial killers that have been like that. Remember all those nurses that were killed that one time, years and years ago? But nobody, no one saw anything. The guy was rampant for quite a while. So it's like, I guess this could be totally a wacko that had the precision to do it. We can't rule that out.
No, got to look for other crimes, I guess pretty much anywhere that are similar.
Yeah. I don't know. This one really stumps me. I wasn't even going to listen to it because I thought, oh my God, that's just so horrible. But, you have to, because almost like as respect to the people that were murdered. I hate that word.
And I agree with Shannon here. Shannon said something is off. Either the girls were involved or they were drugged. Like I said, again, I didn't think anything odd at all when I heard at noon. I thought, well, they've all been out partying and stuff. Of course they're going to sleep till noon. They're not going to be up at 6 a.m. They're going to, but the prosecutor said, I wrote it down. I guess they're finding it odd because he said, we're looking into why. It obviously isn't as simple as what I'm assuming here.
I wouldn't expect the kids to get up till noon either.
I wouldn't either. And it also surprises me a little bit that neither of the 2 in the home that survived, I'm going to say survived this because I'm going to, the killer obviously didn't know they were there because they didn't do anything to him, that they themselves have not spoken out on social media. They're going to be about this.
That's good. We don't want another Kylie Rodney thing.
No, but it's very surprising that they didn't say anything. I'm sure that the police have told them not to, but that means nothing to these kids on social media.
Yeah, I know. They don't really respect boundaries a lot. I don't know, Brooks. I was just perplexed with this when I was listening to it, and I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I did feel for the police sheriff, I guess. Oh, and then I did think of something as well, it's not the nicest thing to think of, but I thought, okay, do any of those police officers have kids in university? Let's get that out of the way right away.
Oh,
yeah. Like Ronnie Lawson, like that. Sickening.
Already going there, aren't you, Pat?
Well, it still really bothers me. So I really bothers me. So I did think of that right away. I thought, okay, maybe that's why they said all updates will come from the state of Idaho police.
Yeah, and my thing is, they say all the updates are going to come from the state of Idaho police, which fine. Well, then why didn't they come from the state of Idaho police on Monday? How come they waited till Wednesday and they put up a very ill-prepared chief and the dean? The dean broke my heart. So did the chief. Very ill-prepared. They're not skilled with the media. This isn't their regular journalists from around town asking what's going on with the university budget, if you know what I mean. So they weren't prepared for this type of sharks.
Yeah, definitely. You could tell. The reporters were seasoned reporters, but you would expect that was when 4 people die. You know, it's not, they're not going to send out their newbie.
Yeah. And also, I can't get over this. The door was left open. They
Yeah,
said open.
that's,
They didn't say cracked. They didn't say ajar. They say the door was left open. It's cold. It's freaking cold. How would that not wake someone up? What are they,
well, if they all had their bedroom door shut and they'd all been drinking, I don't necessarily think that would wake them up. But you would think, like, do they have a screen door and then an inside door, or just an inside door and that was open? Like, then you'd expect more people walking by to see what's going on. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
And I mean, somebody that came in would, it's a big house. They would have to know if it's targeted where everybody sleeps. Targeted, you're after somebody, so you have to know where they sleep. You'd have to make noise walking on those creaky floors and looking for who you're looking for. Forget the attack, just finding them. Unless they're all laying around, you know, like having a slumber party in the floor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. If it's a big house, I could see why 2 of them maybe didn't hear anything going on. If they were, we don't know enough about those things. And the person saying unconscious, that's, it doesn't seem like they were very close up to the victims.
And why would you assume someone's unconscious unless you did get close to them? If you think someone's asleep, they're asleep and you leave them be. If you need to wake them, then you say, I tried to wake them up, but they're unconscious.
Yeah.
How did you not see all the blood? The investigators said it's the most horrific, gruesome crime scene they've ever seen. How did the 911 caller not notice all of that?
Yeah. I don't know. This one's got me. This one's got me. Well, I hope the FBI is quite involved. I would think so. It was 4 people.
Yeah, they are, supposedly.
Yeah. Well, maybe they know an awful lot more and they're not telling us. I just think it's a little suspect with this, the way he was saying targeted. It's like, you don't hear that every day. And he said, oh, we put our best guests together. But it's like, no, we don't hear that on all the crime scenes.
No.
So they had to be taking that from somewhere.
Haven't heard targeted in a long time. And again, I'm going back to a 911 call saying this person is unconscious. I don't know who they came across first. What indicated someone being unconscious?
Yeah.
What, you had to have tried to shake them to wake them up. And you damn sure would have known then they had been stabbed to death. Then I wouldn't see a 911 call. Like I said, 20-year-old, 21, 30, 40-year-old Brooks would have hightailed it out of that house and been like, oh, hell no, I'm not staying here. I would have been running down the street screaming for help.
Yeah, I would have too. Or passed out or something.
That would not have been the day to be the hero. No.
Now, are you thinking the 4 of them were all in different places of the house? I just thought of that.
Well, the couple, Ethan and Zano, they would definitely be in a room alone. And so the other 2 girls, I understand that there's 4 people. I'm sorry, there's 5 people that live at the house. Ethan was just staying overnight with Xana. I don't know if maybe Kaylee and Maddie share a room. And then Ethan and Xana they would definitely be in a separate room, Ethan and Xana. So Twain said there's 6 bedrooms in the house. Somebody has to be familiar with the house to know what room to go to if it's targeted, who they're after. They'd have to know. Because if they're banging around, opening doors, looking for someone is going to hear that. There was a sound in that house.
Yes. But drunk people, and I'm not assuming they're all drunk, but if they were, they wouldn't necessarily have heard anything. And that guy that got all those nurses in the nursing dorm, he did go door to door and he killed them. I hate that word, but he did, and nobody heard anything. So I think, but that's, I'm assuming that's if we're talking about a real wacko, like not a student.
We've heard of cases too where someone has come in, and I guess I'll just use the word targeted. That's a targeted and exfoliation are the words of the day. And someone in the house who doesn't want to be targeted doesn't move a muscle sometimes for hours until they know the coast is clear, and then they come out. I thought about that too. These two could have been like, don't move. Don't
Well,
move.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But still doesn't explain calling 911 saying someone's unconscious. There's no way in hell. That assumption was made. Not with all the blood everywhere. No way.
Maybe that is just a bad or misinformation that they've passed on to us.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's very early on. So if all six of them had earbuds in, I guess it would make sense.
Yeah, and you see, I know a couple kids that wear earbuds as soon as they go to sleep. They don't hear a thing. So it could have been something like that. Seems
and then
horrific.
It'd have to be all six of them. And also you're looking for someone who's skilled with a knife.
Yeah, that's a little scary, that part. That leads me more away from like a jealous rage. So I don't know.
It is. All right, my friend, I'm going to start winding this down and we're going to keep following it.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me up, and thanks to chat and everything, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, my friend.
Okay,
Let's have a
bye-bye.
round of applause for our friend Pat. Pat is the very first member of the channel and has the hoodie to prove it. If you come into Discord, ask her to show you a picture of her hoodie. It is a world-class hoodie, I'm telling you. World class. Jean said, without the video at Taco Truck, the options are endless, but they will definitely be focused on a rejected, mentally unstable creep that was passionate in action. I got you. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not someone that felt rejected, wanted to be in the in crowd and they weren't. But you just don't go and kill somebody, 4 people with a knife, and them still looking for you days later. This was not an easy chore by any means at all. All right, guys, I'm going to wind this down, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be at this point. I'm not sure. If you guys have any ideas and something on your head, if you want to talk about this again, because I'm sure something will come out overnight, you let me know. Because like I said, we have a lot of true crime food in the kitchen and we have run out of burners. So anything's up for grabs for tomorrow morning. I'll see you guys over in Discord, or I'll see you in one of the Facebook groups. If I miss you, be blessed, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning.